Hey everybody. Wanted to make a quick welcome video to Module 3 as we sort of wrap things up. So, hopefully at the end of Module 2, remember the main thing we're ending with, of course, is this final draft of your literacy narrative. You've had some peer review work with this, and then we're ending with that final draft that's due tomorrow, 9/23, by the end of the day. So that's the sort of culmination of like the first couple of modules that we've worked towards and all these literacy narratives that you've read. If you have questions, if anything is coming up for you, please reach out to me. Let me know. Kind of like I said in the other video, it's almost a little too late for me to be able to really give good feedback on an essay at this point. But if you have issues, you run into problems, reach out to me. If you're, for example, writing in Google Docs and you need help figuring out how to submit what you have in Google Docs in Blackboard, well, here's a great guide for that under additional information. So that's sort of the end of Module 2. I wanted to make this, though, to kind of get started and do a broad overview of Module 3, because we're moving into some new territory here. So we've read about literacy and reading, and we're kind of leaving the notion of these literacy narratives behind, and now we're moving into this idea of analysis, which really just means to take something apart, to examine how it works. And we're going to do this with some of the readings. And then the main way this will culminate is in Essay 2, you're going to do an analysis of your own, of something of your choosing. And I'm going to highlight that in just a second. But I want to talk about the other parts of this module as well. So for Module 3 in particular, the main idea here is you're going to be able to select a topic for your essay number 2, but then you're going to start thinking about your own ideas in terms of how we build arguments and how we do analysis. As always, our online module schedule is available. We'll open that up. Remember, that looks like this, and so you can follow along with where we are moving into this third module on analysis, and it has all the different readings that we're going to work through, as well as the due dates for the different components of this module as well. Here's the overview. We're really going to read and work in 2 areas for this one. Our first week, the week of 9/24 through the 30th, so all of next week, the focus is really going to be on this idea of gender and feminism, different readings about gender in our culture. Some of these readings come from your textbook, Language Awareness, and then of course there's a video link here. This is a TED Talk by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie talking about this idea of feminism. We're going to start there. I also have the link to essay number 2. I'd like you to go ahead and read through that so you know what's going to be expected of you at the end of this unit. Here is sort of that first video that I'm making where we discuss this. Week 2, as we get further into this module, we're going to move from this focus on an analysis of gender, an analysis of gender in our culture, to an analysis of advertising. These are just 2 examples of ways that analysis can really work. Analyzing gender roles, gender expectations, the way gender is presented and sort of thought about in our culture, and then also analyzing advertisements. How do they use language to persuade us? How do they get our attention, for example? How do they keep us focused on what they want us to do? And so there are 3 readings here from Language Awareness from your textbook, and then also this video analysis of analyzing a print ad. Those are the 2 sets of readings, and I've broken those down by weeks because that's going to correspond with the work that you're doing in each module. So for the idea of feminism, after you've done some reading about gender, that's what discussion post 4 due next week is going to be about. So you'll need to have read those readings to respond to that. And then we have a reading quiz that goes with that set of readings, just those first few readings that deal with feminism from week 1. Both of those two things, of course, are due. If you look in our module schedule, and it's also in the assignments, those are due next week. So those are due in our first week of Module 3. And then the same thing kind of repeats. Again, discussion post 5, due the next week of the module, has to do with all of these readings related to advertising. And then, of course, your reading quiz has to do with those readings on advertising as well. So it's broken down by week. Start with feminism and gender next week, and then move into advertising after that. The idea here is, and I'm going to go ahead and open a copy of essay number 2 so that you can go ahead and start thinking about this. I know you're just finishing essay 1, but we're moving into this next leg of the course. For this second essay, I want you to actually apply some of these readings of your choosing to an analysis. And to do that, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to choose either a song or you're going to choose an advertisement. And then whichever of the two that you choose, a song of your choice by an artist of your choice or an advertisement of your choice from a company of your choice, you're then going to analyze it, to break it down, to examine it closely, using some of the tools and tactics that you see happening in these articles, and to support your analysis, your interpretation of it. For example, how does it use language? Or how are gender roles portrayed in the song? How does this ad use imagery to appeal to us and get us focused? Whatever you're doing, however you're interpreting it, you're going to use 1 to 2 sources to support it. So for example, if you choose to do a song, whatever that song may be, Taylor Swift, could be a Taylor Swift song, could be, any kind of song with lyrics, you're going to then support your analysis of it, whatever you focus on, with 1 to 2 of these sources from the perspective of gender or gender analysis, whatever you're doing. Or maybe you don't want to do a song. Maybe you want to analyze an ad. Then you'll choose an advertisement. And then you'll support that analysis with 1 to 2 of these sources about advertising. Whichever it is, that's going to help you sort of make your case. This is going to be ultimately 3 to 4 pages. And then you are going to support your analysis with evidence. But the main purpose of this is to take a thing, whether it's a song or an advertisement, show us your interpretation of it. What is it that stands out to you about this? Make a claim about that. So, for example, if I choose an advertisement that I think has really, really powerful imagery, I'm going to make my claim focused on the power of that imagery. And then I'm going to support it with evidence from that advertisement, and also evidence from 1 or 2 of these sources that backs up what I'm saying, that supports what I'm saying about that ad. Now, these particular sources may not be directly about the ad you choose, actually probably shouldn't be. And the same is true for these sources about gender. They may not be directly about the song you're choosing, but they say things about gender, or they say things about advertising in either case, that can support the argument that you're making. And that's what it means to use those sources for support. That's the larger focus of this particular essay number 2. So you'll see, looking ahead, we'll have another peer review in October, and that final due date will be the 21st, which is almost a month from today. But I wanted to go ahead and introduce that. If that seems daunting now, that's okay, because the work of this module, and as we move into Module 4 after this, the work of this module is going to be about beginning to think about analysis and how we do it and how we can work towards that. We'll also talk about things like thesis statements and MLA documentation. I'll provide guidance on those things as well. But really, the main takeaway is the work of this module starts here, week 1. These readings, don't forget your reading quiz and your discussion post, and start thinking about either song lyrics or advertisements that you might be interested in doing your own particular close analysis of. Okay, that's the really broad overview of Module 3 and where we're going with Essay 2. Again, in the meantime, though, reach out with questions. Let me know how I can help. I'm looking forward to seeing all the rest of your literacy narratives come in, and I'm going to work to get some feedback to you on those assignments, because that's a key essay. That's a key assignment in the class. So I'll try to get feedback to you on that quickly. Okay. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've had a good week. Reach out with questions, any concerns. Start moving into Module 3